Hello, everybody. Welcome to our show tonight. We will get started fairly quickly. Whole lot of signs in the sky today. Shout out to that giant pinkish red orb that flew over Wisconsin, disguised as a thunderstorm. Certainly was not a thunderstorm. Jeffrey, welcome. Glad to have you. Just getting started here. As you might have saw in my latest video, a giant pinkish red orb flew over Wisconsin, cloaked in a bootleg, at best, thunderstorm. I also have a second part of that video. Any one of those two videos should tell you something's coming for they. It's not for us. But if you look at my latest video, you'll see what I caught. Not the first time either. Just saying. Also, they can't see it. They can't see it. Yeah, well, it says, yet they deceive the masses, yet they too are deceived. He has to deceive as an angel of light. And in order to get humans to think he's a good person, Satan's got to expose and exterminate all of his own. Then he'll have all but 100% allegiance. Summertime daisies, welcome. Glad to have you as well. So Satan needs to crush Satan and his army, Satan and the fallen angels. That's it. Like I said, nobody's going nowhere. Ain't gonna be no rapture, none of that stuff. We're all in the same boat. Except what's coming for them is their demise. What's coming for us? It's the most amazing thing ever. All glory to Christ. But Satan can't just show up here and keep it real. People aren't going to ride that ride. Certainly aren't going to take his mark any better. So he has to deceive him. The whole world has fallen under the sway. That means he's deceived everybody. He's like a magician that brainwashed everybody. The whole world has fallen under the sway of the wicked one. But that's who God's wrath is for. They and the stuff they do. Always have done, even to their very own, old and young alike. They're going to pay dearly for that. And that's why what's happening in the world is happening. But it's not for you. It's not for me. It's for they. It's for the church pastor on television just before I started this in his $800 robin egg blue jacket, $2,800 cherry sitting in, behind his $12,000 custom desk. That's who it's coming for. Those that suckled at the teat. The blind leading the blind. Justice, welcome. Glad to have you as well. Just getting started. If everyone saw my latest video, or will at some point, you'll notice if you go back in my videos about a month, there's another video just like this with a giant reddish pink orb. Went over Wisconsin disguised as a thunderstorm. It certainly was not. It's some sort of stationary sphere that acts like a strobe, a blinding white if it wants to be. And you'll see in my next video. But that's all to disguise whatever that giant pink orb. Yeah, I don't know. Summertime says, could it be wormwood? It's a great question. What it is. But it is. So people could label it a rogue planet, but it's part of the TV screen up there. Satan's deception. And nothing more. And nothing less. Yeah, you can see the fake grid patterns as well. That's a little deeper. It's amazing that you noticed that. The grid patterns. I also had a grid pattern in the video that I did about a month ago. Same grid pattern. But the strobe flashing in the second video, I haven't uploaded that yet. It's wild. It's so bright. But they can't notice. To them, that's a thunderstorm. Thunderstorm, dude. No, it's not. It certainly wasn't. It certainly was not a thunderstorm. And they'll think you're crazy right there, even if you show it to them and break it down the way I do. They just can't hear that. They can't understand that. They certainly can't see that. Giant red orb. And that was a very quick video, I'm sure. If I wanted to, the thought crossed my mind to record all the three main news, the local news channels at 10 o'clock. And they'll show a recap. But you already know the deal. I showed it once before, I've showed it again. I don't know how many videos I've done about it. Alex Baums, welcome. Glad to have you as well. Says it is odd that a fireball went over Missouri yesterday. Yeah, I didn't see that. More part of their space deception. As we know, the sky will roll back like a scroll. That verse alone tells you what you're just seeing with your worldly eyes isn't what it is. And the closer we all draw near to Christ, the more you get. At the end of the day, what is it? They would give you some technical term about Project Bluebeam. And that would go something like, man, worldly, built some sort of technology that they can create holograms in the sky. But that's a worldly explanation. What we know to be true. We were born into Satan's great deception. And anything outside that book is basically a deception. It's amazing how what we knew is real in the 90s when I was a kid for a thunderstorm and lightning and or such is nothing like that anymore. That's long gone. Just as long gone as our yellow sun, our warm yellow sun, and our bright blue sky. It's a white sun now. Way too bright, way too hot. The sky isn't anywhere near the same color. Nothing is the same. But we're not born awake. That we showed up into the middle of the Great Deception. It's not something that's coming in the future that church pastors will see in advance and will let you know. You were born into it. The people, the stuff, pretty much everything is deception. And our job is to explain that to people to the best of our ability. And if they don't understand, or they don't want to, or they just don't care, they want their life back, then it's not for them. But us, at some point, maybe even before this, you had enough of Satan's world. It sucked. There was no advancement in it. And you already started to know, even before all of this, that that world wasn't for you. Maybe you started searching then. Maybe you're like me. God just drug you out of the world and said, you're done with this. Not that I hadn't realized it was whack through and through. But none of those people ever woke up. None of them. From like 03. And even before I was awake, when I was in like 7th or 8th grade or so, everybody thought Cameron Diaz was so hot. And I said there, she wasn't. None of them were ever really the celebrities. But then you wake up and you understand why. But everybody else did, that's for sure. Still do. Make them their idols. American Idol. All of it's right in your face. I don't know how many real people feed into that, though. Just like the videos, when you see somebody has 1.8 million views every day or something. I mean, I don't know what it would take. Unless they're setting themselves on fire every day or something. I don't know. But then you say, how many of them are real? Probably not a lot. At all. And of the real, 0 would understand anything we're talking about. And none of them on TV or radio would understand anything we're talking about, or they would be long gone out of it. They would recognize how out of time we are. How out of time they are, and what's coming for them. Ruckus says, hello. I used to think I was being gang stalked, but it's stopped. Well, I never go anywhere anymore. Why are they following you? How are people? Sure. I think they're following all of us from birth. It's just at some point you realize it. But we were born into it. The people, the bots, they're not people. They're just illusions of people. Synthetic, unnatural flesh as the Bible refers to them. Men will lust after unnatural flesh. And that's what's all around you. Other people, worldly term, would be the serpent bloodline. They're all Satan's people, just replicating. They don't change at all. Just replicate. Always have. Just now, if they follow you around, say, forgive them, for they know not what they do. It'd be like being mad at Alexa or something, or Siri. Couldn't get mad at Siri because it's just a stupid bot that has no value. Forgive them, for they know not, they have no authority over you. But all of you that are in Christ, no doubt they're following you around. No doubt. Whether you understand it or not, or whether you care or not, doesn't matter. Because the one in us is infinitely more powerful than the one in they. They have no authority over you. That's just an illusion of a world that ended. Anyway. But no doubt, we are out of time. Have that full armor of God on. But those TV pastors and all the other people that are pretending or think they're preaching the gospel are the blind leading the blind. I even give people the benefit of the doubt to listen to them. And I hear nothing of any substance that everybody hasn't heard before. And that's because they have no authority to teach. You have to be given the authority. They don't have it. And that's why I said he's sitting up there in an $800 Robin Egg Blue sport coat. All the PayPal donations, all the whatever. Sounds good, Ruckus. You listen as you feel the need. Some of you are here live with me, and some of you, YouTube doesn't notify. Some of you might be blocked. But that's the world you exist in. And nobody's ever going to acknowledge that unless it's you or I. Because you and I can see through it. You can see the difference. The stuff I know because God gives it to me. And the stuff everybody else knows. There's so much more of it. He's inspired pretty much the same. Come out of the world stuff. Who the people are, why he taught the parables of the wheat and the tares. And I'm able to show that through the Devil TV. The Devil TV helps me show you what God has given me as a visual reference. Otherwise, like I said long ago, you would just be listening to a somebody tell you about glass doll eyes, way too white of teeth. Now, maybe even some of you would have figured it out. But the visual references help infinitely. Yeah, the cool of the day. Welcome, glad to have you. It says they're not notifying it of my live stream. Not the first one. And that's how it is. Child of God is here. Welcome. Glad to have you as well. Just started off by talking about my latest video. A giant neon pinkish red orb went over Wisconsin today, disguised, get this, as a thunderstorm. Whatever it was all part of Satan's great deception. And if I can see that, no doubt very few others can, if anybody at all. Child of God says big rocks, the size of buildings, are rolling into the sea from La Palma. Yeah. It's an interesting turn of events. Maybe there'll be a tidal wave the size of a mountain. Ann Pearson is here. Welcome. Glad to have you. Says hello to everybody. Yeah, the cool of the day says the storm is coming. Yeah, for them. They are in a whole bunch of crap. But that's how they are. That's their goal. Love all of you too. Glad to have each and every one of you. That's the goal. That's why they exist. The props, the bots, the serpents. To pull you across the line that you can't cross. Yeah, braided. Glad to have you as well. Says I feel constant heaviness, like something is happening. Yeah. But remember, braided, no fear. It's not for us. We are covered in the blood of Christ. They have no authority over you. In Christ, you will walk right through it. Later on tonight, I will post the second part of that strobe light that went over, pretending it was a thunderstorm, hiding a giant red orb. Part 2 of the video I posted a little bit earlier. But I knew when I saw that on the radar and I heard it and I saw the flashing that I was going to try to get it in real time like I did, and then try to match it up to their live downtown camera when they do their very quick weather update. Pretty much the same way I did last time. That's 2 times in probably a month that a giant red orb went over Wisconsin. And I got it on video both times. A lot more. A whole lot more. But I didn't get it on video. One time. But doing it twice in a month, in real life, they're still not going to believe you. What would you rather know, though? A giant red orb is being cloaked, or you're surrounded by serpents or bots pretending they're us, or the wrath of God is coming upon this place. You should come out of the world. I don't know what they think. Yeah, I would say come out of that world. Both great and small have to die for Satan. That's what the mark of the beast is. Second of all, they haven't activated it yet. So wait till they do that. People still aren't going to understand because God Himself, has hardened their hearts to believe the lie. And if God Himself did that, how is little old me or little old you gonna wake them up? It's gonna be who God brings to you and who God brings you to them. Yeah, it'd be cooler if we could all do a real life Bible study weekend together. The people are scattered pretty far and wide. You can't be worldly. It's something you're going to have to figure out because that's part of the process. What does it mean to come out of the world? What does it mean to then be refined? What does it mean to be born again? And at the end of all that, to have the Holy Spirit come upon you. What does that mean? It means God chose me. It's not something that I can give. I can show what has been given freely. That's important. Give freely as you receive. Do not exalt yourself. Like the whole world does that, like a pecking order. And the pecking order is whack, as everything else. The stupidest people just got to refer to that they can't fix potholes. And then everything comes a whole lot clearer. But they can't fix potholes. Potholes are the least of people's concerns. You notice how they never talk about that either? Bridges are crumbling, roads are crumbling. There is no real infrastructure anymore because they know this place is going down. They're long in hiding. They're not even real. It's all part of a live action movie that we all live in, I guess. To work for God. When the collapse happens, that's what you're going to be doing. You're going to have, there's no water, there's no electricity. I don't care what they say, or when the shelves go empty, or just give us 2 weeks, shelves will be full. I don't know if people are going to buy that or not, but you better understand what's coming. They're not going to. And don't listen to them and like hold out hope because what I said yesterday, whatever the supply chain is, whatever, now today, there's a little bit less. So whatever shortage is yesterday, there's a few less today. And tomorrow, at the end of tomorrow, there'll be a little less. Never going to be more, though. It's never going to go back. So every day that we wake up, a little bit less. Take what you can get kind of deal. Even now, if you ask for something, This is what we have. You want this? Because we ain't got what you want. And you can already see it developing. Every day, there's going to be they're not making anymore. There is no more to get. Satan's world is shutting down and unraveling. And it's going to take all of them, everyone that's in the world with it. They're never going to understand that. They're always going to think right up until the Antichrist. And they're going to follow. That's how he's going to get everybody to follow him. Now, everyone that's left, he's already got his. They have no value to them. They're just stepping stones. And they're going to be sorely mistaken when he gets here, because they're going to be his stepping stone. That's what it's going to be. They've been deceived. Surprise. Their father is the father of lies. And he'll show what they do. He'll crush them, and people will cheer wildly. The body that he inhabits, the vessel, the unit, as Elon Musk calls a body, a unit. If that unit gets sick, you just discard it, get a new one. Just another bootleg angle. You can go straight to hell. Put your consciousness on a computer chip. Not really doing that, though. You just get God. And some bootleg version of you goes on. But nobody's home. You see how they do them. Satan looks for who he can devour. And he will continue to do that. The mark of the beast will continue to go on. But at some point, everybody will want to. They'll want to. Yeah, they certainly can be deceived. Even the elect, if possible. That's what it is. I didn't make the rules. I'm just saying. The way we learned everything in our youth, the cartoony way, the cartoon art, you know the deal. But it's real going on all around. The presentation of how we're taught it is like something that happened long ago, I guess, would be a worldly teaching of it. It's hard to explain. But when you realize it's real, it's going on all around you. You were born into the great deception. It becomes ever so clear. By the grace of God, not me. I've said many times I'm a dumbass. God gave it to me freely, but I went through the process that I spoke of. And I give it freely. Money's not going to matter soon. That's another thing. They think they're going to be all good because they got a bank account with money in it, or they got supplies. They say peace and security is upon us. Then sudden destruction befalls them. That's right where we're at in the Bible. We are not, I hear people saying all the time that we're in the tribulation, but we're not in the tribulation yet. We're still in the illusion of the world that ended. So that world ended. Now we're in an illusion of it. Very, very soon. The illusion's going to go. The illusion of stability, food on the shelves, all of that stuff. Yeah, people are going to do whatever they want. That's their decision. If they want to do it, let them do it. There's nothing you can say or do about it. Let God's will be done and not ours. It's not our will. We did it's not my rules. They can't wake up. And from here, it's only the deception's only going to get worse. And Satan trying to make people think he's a good guy. And how the deception evolves doesn't matter because it's world end, then per birth pains and tribulation it goes on. That's why it says come out of the world, because that's where it's at right now. It's going to crumble. Sudden destruction befalls them. Is it lava pouring out of a volcano, blow a huge chunk of that volcano into the sky? I don't know. Is it a mega earthquake? But it will. It's not going to be localized. Sudden destruction befalls them. So if it did, the ensuing tidal wave that they say could never happen, washing 30 to 40 miles inland, would start the collapse. Now, if you thought about it, like we talked about, it would actually be more supplies because there would be less people using up supplies that don't exist anymore. They're not making any more. They have what they have. Yeah. They literally don't care, you're right. Goes in one ear and out the other. But I don't even know if they're going to know. Once they activate that, because they already got the bots and they already got all the power. Everyone's gone, right? So it may be a physical body that looks like somebody, but the original's gone. I don't forget the body, just your own free will to go and do as you please, that's long gone. So for all of them already, now the people that haven't been activated yet, the masses, once they activate them, they're gone too. And that's the game. Buyer's remorse. Sorry, dude. You made a wrong decision. And now you're going to pay dearly for it. And that's what it is. There's no way around it. But by the grace of God, we can see the game. In the collapse, many people are going to get pulled into that by family, by people around them. Jesus Christ is my everything. So the zombie programming in our movies will become reality. I don't know. They're going to activate them though. So yes and no. Yes, it will be like that. Like you see in the movies. And no, because there would be no outliving the zombie apocalypse. It's not the zombie apocalypse. It's the end of days. So it will continually get worse and worse until Christ returns and cuts these days short. So let's say the tribulation starts in 2023. I'm not picking a date, I'm just saying. And goes through 2030. Right? It's going to be 2022. So let's say there's 844,000 real humans left. And every year, 100,000 humans get exterminated. Till 2030 would have 144,000. How many humans are even left? And I don't mean here where I'm at, or the state I'm in, or the country I'm in, just here in this reality. How many of God's children are left? How many people are still here? I guess nobody's going to know that. Because if you did, you would think you knew something about when it's going to end. But it's coming. But if it ends tomorrow, yeah, sometime between the collapse, grid down, and Satan showing up, it's a blank time. It's just going to be blank, like grid down, zombie apocalypse land. People will go through it, whatever people are left, like they can survive it, or they can get supplies, or they can go somewhere and there's a safe place. It's going to continue to get worse and worse till Christ returns, or there'd be no humans left. All glory to Christ. The one in us is infinitely more powerful than the one in them. And I have no fear. I see it as a privilege and an honor to experience what's coming. To pull as many out of the fire as I can. So I have no doubt that everything that I've been given is from God, our Lord and Savior, not aliens, not some fake stuff. It's all real, not the ramblings of a crazy person. All real in real life going on around you. And if you're on that path, you realize this world isn't what it is. Keep going with it, because you're on the right path, and that it's a narrow path. But you're doing well. So keep going with it. There's no preparations you could make or they could make for themselves. It's going to get them through what's coming, because it's coming for them. And it's here. And no matter what happens, so many are going to be deceived. They're never going to come up off it. But you'll know who God sends to you, because you're not going to be at your house in the zombie apocalypse. You'll be passing through it. this staged fake alien invasion, and all the other crap they're gonna try to deceive you with. In the back of your mind, you'll always remember, wait a minute, these people can't fix potholes. Never listening to them. Never in the history of my life would I let somebody that can't fix potholes tell me anything about anything. But pretty soon, when the grid goes down, there isn't going to be people at the electric plants. There isn't going to be people doing anything. And that's what's coming. It's coming for they to make sure you're out of the world. A lot of people are going to tell themselves, well, that's not for me then either. I'm safe. But they're going to be sorely mistaken. Remember, I never knew you. They're going to say they ran a church. They ran a youth group. They ran a mission where they built cabins for people in third world countries. God's going to say, I never knew you. Because they were in the world. They were the blind leading the blind. So whoever taught them didn't know nothing other than what you could read out of a book. That's how the whole world is. The blind leading the blind. They have no depth in it, though. They read it out like a book. Any church you go to, across this every Sunday morning, they just stand up there and they read a chapter or a verse. Then they tell you what they think about it. There's no depth in what they think. It's what the Holy Spirit gives you. They don't got that part of it. I listen to them many times and they don't have any depth in anything. All the same stuff at every church. Blah, 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 blah. Come up, drink some wine, give us some money, and get out because we have another service in an hour. We have to clean up. And like I've said in the past, in the zombie apocalypse, people are going to go to churches and they're going to be sorely mistaken as well. Because they have crept into the church unaware, they will lead the whole congregation to Bay's demise. They're never going to see it coming. There's nothing you can do for them. Their hearts have been hardened to believe the lie. It just is what it is. It's the game. By the grace of God. It's not for us. Yeah, Don the Dragon Slayer says, kind of like people who go to church once a year on Easter and think everything's going to be fine. Yeah, go to a 45-minute to an hour service, and they come home, watch football, and eat cheese dip or something. Same with Christmas. They go for the hour service, probably on their cell phone the whole time, and then they go back. And it's who gave the best presents. Has nothing to do with God after that. It's a plastic Santa. Stockings hanging. You know the deal. Yeah, I think Christ was born on April 1st, April Fool's Day, because they hate him. That's when I think he was born. Yeah, that's right. Frank Bean says the fact that not one church remained open is the fact they're all their falsehood. Not one of them is from the Father. That's right. Well said. Well said, Frank Beans. Not one of them. It's all an illusion, an apostate religion. Something that should be real is sold as cartoony. Not one of them, because they all suckle at the teat of Satan's great deception. And for that, they get a tax credit where they don't have to pay taxes on the donations that they take from people. And they get their Cadillacs, their fancy clothes. You know the deal. And for that, they're all dead already, long gone. Yeah, all this worldly stuff, it's all an illusion, everything. Like I said, it would be a lot easier if we were born awake. If I had been born with what I have now, I could have done a lot more. But I'm just like everyone else. I was in that stupid world for a little bit at least. But I would go through it all again from 2003 until now because it's going to be worth it with what God has in store for us. This world is going to perish, and everyone of the world is going with it. There's nothing that we're going to do about it. They're going to continue to go play baseball. They're going to continue to go to the movies, go to bars, whatever it is that they do. As it was in the days of Noah, it just went, they were all in zombie land as well, not Noah and his family. Yeah, summer times that God pulled me out of the nursing profession before. Yeah, yeah. Don the Dragon Slayer says it can collapse any day now and is already happening. It certainly is. Like I said yesterday, we had more than we have today. Tomorrow we'll have less. And every day get a little bit less. There is no more. There is no more being made. When I was talking to the guy where I go, he said that beer is becoming difficult for him to get. 11/3, November 3rd, nationwide shutdown. Child of God just got an email with that in the subject line. I don't know. It's the first I've heard of that. I don't know why. They can't they can't use the same narrative. It's got to evolve. Whoever took the mark of the beast, that's it. They're not going to, nobody else will. So it's got to evolve. Maybe that volcano blows up. Wipes out the entire East Coast, 60 miles inland, all along there. But that wouldn't be sudden destruction befalls them. It's not like sudden destruction befalls just the entire East Coast. Them. So whatever happens, cause and effect, the cause of whatever happens, everything stops because of it and goes downhill drastically in a matter of a week or a few days or something. So it's not going to be a drawn out thing. When it happens, it's going to happen. And whether other people around you recognize it, you will. They may not recognize it till it lands on their doorstep. That's right. That's right, Don. Well said. God told me the world would be ending in 2019. Everyone thought I went crazy. The world we once knew is gone. That's right, Don. Good for you, you can see that. That world ended in November 2019. And since then, we've been in an illusion, a grace period, so to speak, per the birth pains and the tribulation that are coming. People aren't going to understand that, but they will soon. Because there's never going to be any more made. Farmers having problems getting their tractor tires. And tomorrow there'll be even less. And the next day there'll be even less. And there'll never be any more. It's everything in the whole world. It's coming to an end. It's going to affect everything. Except for us. Yeah, it will happen quickly. It certainly will. The end result is people will push back hard. And after a couple months, then there would be some sort of worldly invasion by Satan's New World Order. They're not going to do it right away. They would give it, like I said, the world ended. Now, for 2 years, we've been in a illusion. If the illusion ends, we're going to be in like a zombie apocalypse state for probably pretty much the same, like a 2-year zombie apocalypse and or such. Then the tribulation will start. So I don't even know how many people will be left after that. Worldly people left to deceive. Holdouts, maybe down south. But anywhere up north, it's basically all but uninhabitable. That's what it is. It's got nothing to do with you. You have to come out of the world and always dwell upon what God has in store for us and how lucky we are. Because at some level, we're all going to live the zombie apocalypse. But we will pass through it because we're out of the world. It's hard to explain that part to you. I'm glad to have all of you. I'm going to wrap it up now. Today is Wednesday, the middle of October. Yeah, Sterling, welcome. Glad to have you. I was just going to wrap it up here. Get back after it. Tomorrow night, I have part 2 of the video that I posted with the red orb that went over Wisconsin. The second video is just as amazing. It's more heavily focused on the strobe light. It's just amazing how blind people are. Thank you, Sterling. Sterling says the video was awesome. It's the second one like that. I could have probably done over the summer half a dozen, exactly the same. Yeah, God bless all of you. Going to wrap it up now. I will talk to you all again tomorrow night. All glory to Christ.